It is Tuesday, July 15th, and the Trump administration declaring what could only be described as full economic warfare on BRICS, moving full steam ahead this week, using everything in their arsenal. Congress now set to vote this week on major crypto legislation, and it's got nothing to do with just the crypto markets. There's so much more happening here that will fundamentally change the game. Dems furious over this. We'll explain what's happening, why it's such a big deal, because it is. The fight with China and BRICS is here, folks. Russia now choosing sides. Saudi Arabia also has chosen sides. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. Also, if you haven't pressed the subscribe button yet, consider doing so you don't miss these regular updates.
Anti-American policies.
10%, George.
That would be India, Brazil,
That's
Russia,
right, they have to pay 10% if they're in BRICS. Because
Right.
BRICS was set up to hurt us. BRICS was set up to degenerate our dollar and take our dollar as the standard, take it off as the standard. And that's okay if they want to play that game, but I can play that game too.
So this is gearing up to be a wild week. Trump and Republicans, again, moving full steam ahead legislatively. The House set to vote on 3 game-changing crypto bills this week. This is being called Crypto Week. And there's a reason. This really can change the game for crypto, but the bigger story, the real reason for this, is to completely crush BRICS. Crush the chance at any alternative to replace the dollar as the world reserve currency. If all goes as planned, multiple things will happen this week. It's crazy when a plan comes into place and just starts to work. First, it could set up the US as the crypto empire of the world, which Dems are furious over, that Trump will end up getting credit for this. Also, at the same time, it's got the potential to save the US dollar, lock in the dollar's hegemony, not just for a few decades, but generations. We're going to explain how that's possible. And finally, bring about real regulation, which means institutional investors will be able to finally start pouring in to the crypto market.
This week, we are delivering on President Trump's promise to make America the crypto capital of the world. For too long, digital asset innovation in this country has been stifled by ambiguous rules, instability, and the Biden administration's anti-crypto crusade. Now we have the opportunity to pass a comprehensive, nonpartisan digital asset legislation that will unlock the next era of American innovation, protect consumers, and strengthen the U.S. dollar.
We are in the final battle here to save the US dollar as we speak. It's happening right now. On one side, we have the United States. The other side, we have China and Russia, who are pushing for this new BRICS currency, who are dumping US dollars, hoarding gold for themselves. Trump throwing everything he's got right now to stop BRICS from taking off, halting global de-dollarization as we speak, which is where this week comes into play, Crypto Week. The U.S. Senate just passing the Genius Act. It's now working its way to a vote tomorrow or Thursday in the House, gearing up to be the first standalone crypto measure signed into law. But the bigger prize that Trump's eyeing is what's called the Clarity Act, which is what Dems are really upset about. This bill will set the United States up as the crypto haven of the world. The Clarity Act sets the rules for when an asset is considered a security and overseen by the SEC versus being considered a commodity and overseen by the CFTC. This bill clears the path for institutional investors to really start getting into crypto. The big money has been sitting crypto out for years because it's lacked clarity, the Clarity Act, from regulators. This would permanently fix that. Tomorrow it's set to pass in the House, but the Clarity Act facing a hurdle in the Senate. Dem senators publicly accusing Trump of benefiting from this legislation because Trump owns crypto. They believe this will just see crypto go gangbusters after this and would benefit him and his family too much. That's what they're saying publicly, but privately, they know upon the passage of the Clarity Act, we would likely see a bonanza in the crypto market. Money likely would begin flowing in from around the world, and they don't want to give Trump that kind of a win. This isn't your typical regulatory touch-up that we're seeing. This is Massive economic overhaul, folks. Economic warfare. Trump betting this will permanently shore up the dollar for generations. This is the Trump administration's counteroffensive. And it's actually quite brilliant, tying the US dollar to stablecoins.
Stablecoins really have the potential to ensure American dollar dominance internationally, to increase the usage of the US dollar digitally as the world's reserve currency, and in the process create potentially trillions of dollars of demand for US treasuries, which could lower long-term interest rates.
Just like the US dollar used to be tied to gold, then Nixon took us off the gold standard, now we have the petrodollar, but that's clearly going away. It's not stable enough. We need the next peg, and Trump's betting this is it, betting this could really be it, at least for a while.
And we are going to put a lot of thought into the stablecoin regime, and as President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stablecoins to do that. Thank you.
All of this going into overdrive during the start of the Ukraine-Russia war, that's when countries saw how much power the U.S. really has. Countries around the world sick and tired of the U.S. having the power to just sanction anyone they want, sick of virtually every international transaction needing to be settled in dollars. Think about it. Why does a transaction between Ethiopia and Russia need to be settled in dollars? In reality, it doesn't, but it is. China, Russia, and these other BRICS countries want that to change. They've been working for decades to change that, and it's all coming to a head. Trump is pushing this to a head. In the last few years, since the Ukraine war, 1 in 5 international transactions are now being settled in local currencies. That's like 20% of the dollar market share just gone, and investors are paying attention. Bitcoin just broke through its record high, hitting $120,000 this week. Gold has been like a rocket ship as well. Look at the best to worst investments this decade. What's number one? Gold. Gold is up 114% over the last decade. U.S. Treasuries, the worst, down 1% decade to date. This is an economic war, folks. Trump's making bold moves, building up a crypto reserve, calling for real strategic crypto legislation, slapping universal tariffs on any BRICS-supported country.
So you've talked about India coming, but then a couple days ago you issued a new tariff threat to members of the BRICS countries for if they aligned with anti-American policies.
10% charge.
That would be India, Brazil,
That's
Russia,
right, they have to pay
South Africa.
10% if they're in BRICS. Because
Right.
BRICS was set up to hurt us. BRICS was set up to degenerate our dollar and take our dollar as the standard, take it off as the standard. And that's okay if they want to play that game, but I can play that game too. So anybody that's in BRICS is getting a 10% charge.
Is that immediate, sir, or
Yeah,
is that
pretty soon.
if they engage in some behavior?
Well, if they're a member of BRICS, they're going to have to pay 10% tariff just for that one thing. And they won't be a member.
So the question is, can Trump's crypto pivot buy us some time? Keep the US dollar as the world reserve currency, not just for a couple more decades, which is kind of baked in, but instead for generations to come. That's what their plan is here. That's what they're trying to secure for us. People don't give Trump enough credit. He understands all of this. He's got very smart people around him. Scott Bessent, a brilliant guy. Listen to Scott Bessent here talking about their plan, just saying it openly, their plan to tie the US dollar to stablecoins. Watch.
And also that digital assets are an important source of innovation that will drive that can drive usage of the U.S. dollar around the world, as with stablecoin legislation. There is speculation that there may be up to $2 trillion of demand over the next few years for U.S. government securities from digital assets.
Even some of the most anti-Trump business tycoons are now realizing just how wrong they were. They're seeing all of this coming to fruition. Listen to what Ken Langone said this morning, saying, when you make a mistake, just admit it. And he said he made a massive mistake betting against Trump. He's seeing all of this now come to fruition, saying he's got a good shot, President Trump, at going down in history as one of the best presidents ever. Watch.
Look, let me tell you right now, I am sold on Trump. In fact, I'll say this. I think he's got a good shot at going down in history as one of our best presidents ever.
That is a real turnaround because you didn't want to vote for him.
I tell you the reason. I want to tell you, I'm a believer. What I'm seeing happening is absolutely nothing short of a great thing. And there's a beat. People are walking with more bounce in there. It's all around.
I gave you quite a bit of grief.
Huh?
I gave you grief.
You give me grief?
I gave you grief when it was a binary choice. You're still complaining about Trump and it was a binary choice. It's like, are you kidding me?
Knowledge implies one thing. When you made a mistake, admit it.
Okay.
I think this guy is turning out to be a president.
Right.
One of the pilots on that miraculous trip to Iran that we wiped out, whatever the hell we wiped out.
Right.
He said, you're the only guy that in the presidency that would have done what you did. One of the pilots said that.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's probably right.
Let me know if you agree with Ken on this. So much noise this week about Epstein and Ukraine, etc., so much other stuff, but there's so much bigger things that are happening. Trump's doing so much to save this country. All right, that wraps up the news portion of this video. Now let me tell you about the sponsor for today, DeFi Technologies. This video is disseminated on behalf of DeFi Technologies, and if you've watched this channel for a while, you know we are big supporters of this company. They are killing it, folks, and they tie directly into everything we just talked about with crypto. I've been talking about DeFi for over a year, and they just graduated to the big leagues, graduated to the NASDAQ. Here's their ticker on the screen, DEFT. The co-founder of DeFi is a man by the name of Olivier Rossi Newton. Now, he personally owns 17.9 million shares of the company, which are worth over $55 million right now. Since May 31st, 2024, and up to present day, DeFi Technologies has been one of the market's best performing stocks. Yes, you heard that right. DeFi has been one of the best performing stocks since May 31st of last year. And this isn't just a one-time occurrence or a fluke. Look at these returns that they've been putting up. Bitcoin up 76% over that same time. DeFi up 122%. Over the last 5 years, DeFi is up a staggering, monumental 9,275%. So how in the world is that possible? How does DeFi do it? How are they able to achieve this? Well, my answer is that DeFi isn't a cryptocurrency. It's not a coin or anything like that. It's so much more than that. It's like the BlackRock of crypto. Its business covers with a blanket the entire crypto ecosystem. Its growth avenues are seemingly without any visible constraints that I can foresee right now, and the proof is in the pudding. DeFi announced record quarterly results. The crown jewel business is, in my personal opinion, one of the most predictable and recurring forms of asset management models around today. The company's subsidiary, Valor, creates and issues ETPs, exchange-traded products for the crypto sector. As this image shows, at the end of May 2025, Valor had 800 million USD under management, and it monetizes that sum in a way that other asset managers can only dream about. Another department that's under Valor engages in staking and lending, and this helps to generate approximately 8% on assets under management that's staked or loaned. Here's a core chart to think about. What you're looking at is a peer comparison at the top and a theoretical market cap of DeFi Technologies. If it were ever to trade in line with these peers, DeFi Technologies is simply an exemplary business. And there's so much more I have to share with you about it. DeFi is a primary example for a company that issues and manages ETPs through its subsidiary Valor. And that is the key for the company's stellar success. Valor offers over 75 exchange-traded products covering the full spectrum of the crypto market. The Trump administration has taken significant steps to reshape U.S. cryptocurrency policy, and DeFi's management has taken notice and made an acquisition recently that gives it U.S. exposure while it continues on its global expansion plans. Let's recap some of Donald Trump's most important guidelines, because DeFi Technologies is directly linked and impacted by the policies of the world's largest economy, obviously. Number one, executive orders supporting crypto growth. We know the EOs that Trump has signed. Number two, regulatory overhaul. Trump revoking Biden's EO 14067 and the Treasury's 2022 digital asset framework, signaling a rejection of prior restrictions that the Biden administration put in place. And now we're seeing what they're trying to pass in Congress right now. Since Trump's re-inauguration, Bitcoin's surged over 50%, and DeFi's outperformance of Bitcoin is just staggering. It's a rarity, folks, given Bitcoin's status as the leading cryptocurrency. This is why I've been super bullish on DeFi Technologies. It's just a special company. All right, so here's what I'll do. I'll leave a link to their website in the description. Make sure to do your own due diligence. Always do your own due diligence. I'm only providing some of the info about the company, their market, and their products. All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.